DeLuna Coffee is owned and operated by diehard Florida State fans and boosters, the Lemmix family in Pensacola. So cut them some slack for their Hurricane blend. No green and orange, and it's definitely not all about some random letter in the alphabet. It simply is a blend for those of you who love that strong coffee flavor without bitterness. DeLuna has combined 2 different South American beans with a Hawaiian bean. In fact, the Hurricane blend has won as many ACC titles as the school in Coral Gables. Try it or one of their other 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Take the promo code WARCHANT15 when you do your explorations of DeLunaCoffee.com. Got a little bit of that cold brew going on a Friday morning over here, Corey. A little bit of that Beechin blend. It's a breakfast blend. I think I'm going to be amped up here in the next 15, 20 minutes, so buckle up. How you feeling, big guy?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. As we record, after we record this, I'm on the road to beautiful Chapel Hill.
It's about to
see what that area of the world has to offer in early October 2021.
You're going to be, after this week, you're going to be the only guy on the beat, for us at least, that's been to every single game. Unless, is Ira coming up? Is he going to be crazy and go up to Chapel Hill, or is he going to be a family?
No, but Ira will tie me. For Boston College.
Yeah.
Daddy's not going to that. That's a long way to try. That's a flight. I didn't realize, I'll be honest with you, when I agreed to do this, I didn't realize that Chapel Hill was 6 hours away from my house. I thought it was 4. North Carolina gets you like that. It's a little tricky. You're like, it's North Carolina. It's 3 hours away, 3.5 hours. Charlotte's 3 hours away. It can't be that far. No, it's 3 hours past Charlotte. So not fired up about the drive, but, I'm used to it, and I'm a road warrior. You know that.
Yeah, I thought everything that was of substance in North Carolina was all within 15, 20 minutes of Charlotte, and then everything else NASCAR country. Nothing wrong with NASCAR country, but yeah, Chapel Hill's 2.5 hours, I think northeast of Charlotte. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're actually staying in Raleigh, which is about 30 minutes from Chapel Hill, but Brady's coming with me, Stephanie's coming with me.
All right.
Gonna make it a trip. Got him a couple tickets in the visitors section, paid for. And yeah, we're going to, I think on Friday, the rest of today, we're going to try to, if the weather holds off, going to go to North Carolina's campus, going to go to Duke's campus.
All right.
Just give Brady something to shoot for.
Right.
He loves basketball. So I'm like, hey, man, if you work really hard, maybe you'll be the starting point guard here at Cameron Indoor in 5 years.
So this weekend's a Red River rivalry, as I roll my eyes. And I think Casey Thompson, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of the Texas quarterback who didn't start the first 2 weeks and now is the starter, and now Texas is back. Apparently his father played at Oklahoma. Would it be hard for you to root for Brady? Because if you're a quarterback of a football, and it's one thing, I guess, if you're a basketball alumnus and your kid is, coming off the bench, you could still maybe root for your alma mater. But if Brady went and played for Clemson, would it be that hard for you to root for him playing Florida State?
Oh no, I would always root for Brady. I've heard those conversations before, and it's like, how could? And there's kind of that subject comes up on Ted Lasso this season, but it's like I don't understand how. I grew up loving Florida State, and I always want them to do well, but no, I would never choose anything over my son. Imagine Brady playing for Clemson, even I don't know if I could let him play for Dabo, but we'll see. Dabo might make a great offer. And he plays Florida State in the to go to the ACC championship game. They lose 31-30, and Brady throws a pick six late to lose the game.
Right.
What am I gonna be over there high stepping to him? Hey buddy, it's all right, man. Hey, that's a great throw. Did you not see him? Did you not read the safety there? What are you looking at? That's crazy. Hey, enjoy the Citrus Bowl. No, I can't fathom being a parent that I would be crushed for my son. I wouldn't be excited that Florida State lost, but I would be crushed for my son. That would take precedence over anything else. So that's always what I would root for. But I think other fans have like, if these diehard NFL fans who like are huge Dolphins fans, if their kid played for the Jets, they would root for the Dolphins over their kid.
I don't get it. Yeah.
I can't imagine that, but I know they're out there. But I just can't fathom that. My fandom doesn't go that far. Like if the Braves were playing Brady in the World Series, if Brady was a closer in Game 7 against the Braves, I would want him to strike out the side and win the game. I wouldn't be looking for a Sid Bream moment.
Or how about what if it was like an error, like a Buckner? So like they lose, like the Braves win, but it's not Brady's fault.
No, because he'd be devastated. I don't want my kid to be. If the game's important, like if it's 2 5-5 teams, I'm always going to root for my. Well, how about this? What if I think Brady's the best quarterback on the team, but he's not getting a chance to play? Then I'm definitely rooting for his team to lose. Like, see, coach, you're starting the wrong guy.
Splendid, fantastic. All right, well, you guys have fun up there. So at least you'll have a photographer for your wrap that you'll be doing with Ira afterwards. No champagne, though, win or lose in this one. But how do you feel, I guess, as we approach this North Carolina game, Corey? 17.5-point underdog, I think, right now as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting a win. I get it. It's just things I'm looking for. I want to see if Jordan Travis can stay upright through four more quarters. That would be a good sign. Can any receivers make plays? That would be a good sign. And how are those DBs going to compete in man-to-man coverage? Because they'll get some. The thing that worries you the most about North Carolina, have you seen the numbers of their leading receiver, their slot guy?
I have not, but I heard Ira talking to Jamie Robinson about it. Apparently they got some guy that's just nuts.
It's crazy. I think he's got like 40 catches for over right at 600 yards or 500. It's crazy. And he's a slot receiver, or they put him in the slot a lot.
Great.
So that doesn't bode well.
No.
I don't know what you do with that. So they're going to give up some yards. They're going to give up some points. I don't expect them to hold Sam Howell to the same thing they did last year. And some of that was, drop passes, a pick six. Like there were some things that happened in that game. I think they missed a field goal too, or you blocked one, something like that. I think North Carolina is going to score mid-30s at least. And I don't foresee Florida State's offense on the road putting up the kind of points it needs to hang in that game. By the way, I'd like to see that too. Like, think about their road games since Norvell's been the coach. 10 points?
I'd rather not. But
I know, right?
Sure.
But it's 10 points at Miami. It's I think 13 points, 16 points at Louisville. NC State, they were down 28-3. They did score 22 in the second half, but after they got down 28-3, they scored 3 points in the first half. They just Wake Forest 14 points. Like they haven't scored 30 points in a road game since he's been the coach, and most of those road games were in front of 800 people. So I'd like to see that, like them play well on the road, even in a loss, like be competitive. They haven't really been competitive on the road since he took over. That's another step this program needs to make. Be in a game in the third or fourth quarter. So that's what I want to see. Not necessarily win. I'm not expecting to win. It'd be awesome if they did it. I don't think it's unwinnable, but I just want to see more competition on the road than we've seen so far.
Josh Downs, that's the weapon for North Carolina. He's from North Gwinnett High School, Swanee, 4-star guy,
did he
second-year freshman.
He's a freshman.
Second-year freshman. He's class of 2020.
Okay.
And here are his numbers for you, everybody. To Corey's point, he's got 40 catches for 620 yards.
What do the Florida State receivers have combined? It's less than that, right? Like their main ones? It's got to be. They certainly don't have 620 yards.
No. Florida State's leading
crazy.
receiver right now is Ja'Shawn Corbin, 14 catches. Pokey's got the most yards, 133.
So he's only, 470 short of Downs? And look, man, some of that is like, what would Pokey's numbers be?
Cuse defense, Notre Dame defense. I mean, we've been playing some real black.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say, what if you had Sam Howell throwing him the ball?
That wouldn't hurt.
That matters a little. Like if he was the slot receiver in that offense, he's probably not as good as this kid. I think we know he's not as good as this kid, but he'd have numbers. Like they put up the number one, number two guys in that North Carolina offense. They put up numbers. So anyway, we'll see if they can slow that kid down. Hold him to what's he averaging? 120 yards a game? That's crazy. So if they can hold him to 120 to his average, maybe they got a fighting chance. And they should be able to stop the run. And they should be able to put pressure on Howell. So those do give you a little bit of hope. Like North Carolina's offensive line isn't very good. That is Florida State's strength, even without Dennis Briggs now. So if you can stop the run, minimize the run, and make him move around a little bit, push him off his spot, rush throws, you got a chance. Maybe you make a couple plays. Maybe you tip a pass. Maybe you get an interception, something like that.
And you have to win the turnover battle, you're saying, right? Like you can't break even. You have to win it.
Absolutely.
What does bode well for Florida State, North Carolina's fourth down defense, 101st in the nation. They're allowing opponents to convert nearly 2/3 of the time. Actually, 2/3 of the time, 66%. So,
well, that's the same thing. How many times have people gone for it against them?
Oh, come on, man! I got the data, raw data.
I thought it. So it's probably 2 out of 3, right?
It just says fourth down conversion. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm sure Virginia Tech went for it a few times. I'm sure Georgia State had to out of desperation. Virginia as well.
All right.
So yeah, that's good. Let's get some of these fourth downs. Let's start converting.
Well, in North Carolina is not. Again, they're not unbeatable. This is not a great football team. Like they got housed pretty good by Georgia Tech.
Jeff Sims and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, that was a mobile quarterback that ran wild all over them. Now, they didn't prepare for him at all. I'm sure they're prepared more for it this time. But yeah, he ran all over them, and he's not very good. And then you have the Georgia Tech sacked him, I think, 6 times. And Duke last week, even lowly Duke, sacked him 5 times. So that gives you some hope. You've got better players on the defensive line than Duke does. So if you can move him around and put him on the ground and force 2nd and 17s, or again, like we talked about, force turnovers. Like they haven't had a real turnover. They've had some bad fumble luck, but I don't know when their last real turnover was. Was it the interception against Wake on the first play?
Oh, yeah, probably. By the way, opponents have gone for it 9 times on 4th down against North Carolina, and they've converted 6.
Okay, well, Norvell, you know what's happening. You know what's coming. Norvell's going to go for it 9 times on Saturday.
Put it in the computer, Mike. Put it in the computer.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's get on the ponies. Let's do some Renegade Express. I forgot exactly where we left off. But actually, real quick, shout out to Florida Cracker, correcting me, I guess. It says 18 bowl games Florida State's played in, 18 different bowl games. 19 if you include the pre-Buckman era 1903 Florida State college appearance in the Florida Times Union Championship Cup.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that.
All right,
and if you count about modern bowls, I wonder how many of the modern bowls because Cigar Bowl doesn't count. The Tangerine Bowl, I think, is something. I think the Tangerine Bowl is probably the Citrus Bowl now. But if you're talking about bowls that are still around, I wonder how many of those what percentage of those they've been to.
I just don't get why, come on, Milwaukee, somebody in Wisconsin couldn't start the Dairy Bowl. Big Citrus has a bowl, Sugar has a bowl, the Cotton Folk got a bowl. Dairy, there's never a Dairy Bowl. I think it's
the locale. If they had a dome, I think they could do it, but it's these bowl trips are supposed to be to
or do it in Indy.
Sunny locales.
Do it in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you can Indianapolis could have a bowl. Absolutely. I'm with you, man. Hey, I'm with you.
Anywho. All right, I think we ended with Knoll 6, so let's go to the Walking Knoll 01. If I'm not mistaken, this is Walker in McGee, Mississippi. Hey, guys, hope you're both doing well. Again, I feel like this Saturday is wait and see. Like you both have said, when we gave Syracuse the ball back with enough time to go win, I was certain we had lost the game. So it was great to see that stop, followed up by that drive to win it. If, parentheses, that's a big if, FSU were to win this Saturday, let's just say our defense plays great against the run and pass, who on the offense has to play a breakout type game to help us find that first road win? I think this is the Walking Knoll 01. I was thinking Malik McClain or Andrew Parchment. Could it be one of our tight ends? The Sean Gone backfield, a punt or kick return for 6? Anyways, getting my tickets for the Miami game tomorrow. Hope to get to meet both of you at Corner Pocket the Friday before. Thanks again. Go Noles.
Well, you'll definitely get to meet me. I don't know if Aslan will be there. I don't know if Aslan will be taking part, but I'll definitely be there. I'm contractually obligated to. Plus, I'd love to meet you. That too. Don't take that for me not wanting to meet you, but I am contractually obligated. Yeah, man. I think, man. By the way, I couldn't use Sean Gone because Trayshawn got caught at the 5. You know what I mean? He wasn't gone. So that was a little disappointing there. I couldn't tweet out Sean Gone, the Sean Gone backfield when he got the 65-yard run. But yeah, I think with the way you look at this team and this, can Malik McClain have a breakout game? Can Parchment? They are going. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. They are going to get pressed man to man. Like I think they said more. Dillingham said it's more than anybody they faced. Norvell was like, yeah, we face it all the time. So who knows? But these North Carolina DBs feel like they're pretty good, and they do play man to man, and they don't play like Syracuse man to man. They come up on the line of scrimmage, so they will challenge these receivers. They do have a chance to go make plays. We haven't seen anything yet to trust that they will make plays, but they will have some one-on-one opportunities down the field. It's just a matter of them going and getting it. So it would be awesome. Well, honestly, it'd be awesome to see McClain have a breakout game because, again, it'd be cool for Parchment, but Parchment's gone next year. Everything I see this year, wins are cool. I'm projecting to next year, and it would be really nice at some point in the next 2 months to see Malik McClain take a step where you're like, yep, that kid's going to be the guy in 2022. And that has to start soon, like right now.
Yeah, I don't think tight ends are in the mix there. Although, I mean, there's everybody on the offense that's not a running back. If they have a big game, it would be a breakout game, right? I mean, there's nobody that could go out and get 6 catches for 111, and it'd be like, that's not their career best. That's not something that we've seen before. It didn't catch us by surprise. So it has to be somebody that's like a pass catcher. Maybe Pokey bounce back. Come on, Pokey bounce back.
Yeah, he has a rough game. It wasn't just a drop punt. My man on that
the Parchment
backwards pass.
Fumble, yeah.
It's like, number one, Parchment screwed something up. Like that's got to be a double pass, right? It's got to be.
I don't even remember how it looks like. I remember somebody commenting about, because I was like, I don't know why Norvell was like lecturing him afterwards, and somebody said like he missed the block that got Pokey blown up. But Pokey just dropped that. Like Pokey didn't get blown up, right? That was just a drop.
No, but even if he catches it, it's 2 guys there about to tackle him.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing doing there. There's nothing doing. I think just because it's a backwards pass on 3rd and goal from the 8, it just doesn't make sense that it wasn't a double pass. It wasn't going to be a trick play.
Oh, for sure
It looked like a trick play.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Parchment didn't block his guy quickly enough or didn't block him at all. He did a Cam McDonald. That's why he was so mad. But you could tell he was still seething on Monday when you asked him about it. Like he's like, yeah, good, we got a touchdown. Glad we scored. But he was still like, I wasn't going to let that be not a time to
teaching
moment. Be a teaching moment. But he was still mad about that play, so he must have completely whiffed on it. But yeah, but my problem with the Pokey play there, what Pokey did was, it's a backwards pass, man, and you drop the ball. You're just going to stand there? Yeah. Like he didn't go after it at all. He just was like, oh, well, I mean, no, you know the rules of football, bud. That's a fumble. Your teammate was there and picked it up, but if you watch Pokey after he dropped it, he just stood there and looked at it. Like that, and then he fumbled later on in the game, I think, or maybe that was later on in the game. That was a rough quarter there for Pokey. But, yes, Pokey, I think, is maybe – Pokey and Parchment are the 2 guys that I could see having like 5-catch, 88-yard games because they will get some man coverage. I do think if they're running – if Jordan can get blocked up, Travis, they can get open enough on the sideline on one of these stop routes or these 7 routes or whatever they run to get 18, 20-yard gains or maybe a 50-yard touchdown. They're both fast, man. It's just a matter of blocking it up.
Scramble drill. I think that's where it's going to be.
Man, wouldn't it be cool, though, also, again, as you project and look forward, to see like a traditional kind of passing attack? I know we're not going to, but like the drive at the end of the half against Louisville with McKenzie. That's the only time, in my opinion, the passing game has looked good all year. It was 5 straight passes, bang, 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 and then Parchment makes that catch over the middle for the touchdown on a great throw. Wouldn't it be cool to see Travis do that once or twice the rest of the way? Just to know what's in there. There's something to build on.
Yes.
Because he can do some other stuff that you can't teach. It'd be cool if that took off too, and then you have some hope for the offense moving forward.
Island Chief, play attention, he says. Not pay attention, but play attention. Coming up on the halfway point of a fairly disappointing season, to say the least, what can we change this week in order to get some different results? Is going up-tempo something worth the risk-reward? Can you see it as a chance to be more of a thermostat? I think that's a little Jermaine Johnson. Let's be the thermostat, not the thermometer.
Can you explain that to me?
Well, a thermometer just reacts to the temperature. The thermostat sets it. Like you
because I was just looking at it as they both tell you what the temperature is.
Yeah, that's true.
But that makes more sense. Yeah, the thermostat. Okay, Jermaine, I see what's happening. Is that a Fuller saying, or is that like a Kirby Smart saying?
I don't know.
Or is that something
Jason
he came
Brown.
up with on his own?
I think maybe Jason Brown, Indy College, I think, came up with that one.
Right. Yeah. I want to ask him. I would like to talk to Jermaine one-on-one, just like, how did you avoid the cameras that whole show? Like, what kind of clown is that dude? Like, imagine going from that guy. What's his name? Jason Johnson?
Jason
For the
Brown.
folks that don't know, he was on Last Chance U. He's a JUCO coach that is just out of his mind.
Yeah.
So it went from him to Kirby Smart. Like, what kind of culture shock must that have been? And we've gotten to know Jermaine Johnson enough just through the interviews to see, man, he is a very thoughtful young man. And he's smart. He's an intelligent young man.
Very sharp, yeah.
What could that 4 months have been like, man? On that campus with those players and specifically that coach sitting in his stupid above ground inflatable hot tub, whatever that was, outside his little house in Independence, Kansas, or wherever they were. Like, that's I know that's not right. It wasn't Independence, but that just, I can't imagine what that 5 months was like for him. But anyway, yeah, okay. Now I get the reference. Thermostat, you set it. So they want to be the thermostat.
Yes,
not
set
the
the
thermometer.
tempo. Yeah. We don't want to react to it.
No, you
What
don't
can
go
we
up
change?
tempo. You don't go up tempo in this game.
Okay, right. But again, though, they're not going to be consistent. Like their execution, they're not going to.
Right.
I mean, and Kenny's admitted as much. So you have to figure out ways to hit big explosive plays. And if going up tempo gives you the best chance of doing that, I wouldn't rule it out. But I think they're going to stick to what they've been doing. Have we really seen a lot of, other than the quarterbacks obviously coming in and out? We haven't seen a lot of deviation in terms of like the sets they're running formationally. I mean, they do what they do. They believe in what they're doing. So I don't really know.
Well, they did the diamond stuff on Saturday against Syracuse, where the running backs. I mean, I don't think they've done that before, where they had both running backs in the game way out wide.
And they did like a 4-wide cluster too. I mean, they're doing a little bit. They're throwing some wrinkles in there, but
I don't mind tempo every now and again to change it up. Like, you start a drive, you get a first down, go. But
right.
You can't, if you get 1 yard on first down, you can't then snap the ball 12 seconds later and get another 2 yards or an incomplete pass, because then your defense is about to go on the field again. And against this offense, I mean, Florida State's in this place now where if you're genuinely trying to win the game, your best chance of winning this game is keeping the North Carolina offense off the field as much as possible. The problem is, as Aslan just said, this offense, when it scores, typically it's 1 yard, 4 yard, 60 yard, kick an extra point. Or, you know what I mean? There's usually a huge play in there. They don't have a lot of 16-play, 75-yard drives. In fact, the longest drive they've had all season was that first drive against Syracuse, where they had all those 3-yard passes. It was literally like an 18-play, 50-yard drive. Do that.
Man,
I can score a lot of points that way, but they took off half the quarter. Yeah. That was crazy. That first quarter against Syracuse, each team had the ball once. Syracuse scored on their, I think, what did Syracuse do on their first drive? They did not score, but they had a long drive that didn't end in points. And then Florida State had an 8-minute drive. The quarter was over, and that's when Syracuse got the ball back. It's like an NFL game. So that's the best. That's your best recipe in this one. You're not going to, I don't think you can outscore this team. You know what I mean? Like, let's just get in a track meet and beat them 50-46. Your offense isn't good enough. So up-tempo in moments to get them off balance. But otherwise, you got to try to run the clock a little bit, especially if it's a game in the second half.
Yeah, they are really bracing. If you could, by watching what they had scout team defense run, like they're expecting lots of pressure, like relentless blitzing almost. It seems like. So I don't know what you can do differently.
Luck.
Well, I mean that's what they kind of were. That's why Jordan started against Syracuse. That was Ira's sort of theory, and then I think Mike Norvell said as much Monday that they just knew they were going to be getting a lot of pressure, and that's kind of why they went with Jordan. So, but in terms of like what can they change this week, I don't know what you could change. I mean, personnel-wise, defensively, they're still going to run out the same guys. Just, I don't know. I don't even know what I want to see. I mean, differently, obviously, cover better. But I don't know what you can do. I don't know if these guys can learn something here in the next 48 hours.
Wouldn't it be cool to see Malik McClain go up and make 2 big-time catches.
Yeah, it'd be cool
man
to
to man.
see. Yeah.
Like, that would be good to see. I think he's the guy.
Receivers everywhere are doing that. Receivers do that everywhere, Corey, except here. It's crazy.
I know. So he's the guy, right? He's the guy we think going into next season is the guy you think is the true weapon, the NFL prototype, the size, the speed. He's probably your most talented guy. We are now about to be in Game 6, and he did get here in the spring. It's time to take the training wheels off a little bit and have him. Not that he hadn't been playing; he plays a lot. And they took a shot with him against Syracuse, and he was open. It was a poor throw. That would have been probably an 80-yard touchdown. You want to see him start making plays when it matters because he's just got the size, speed. We hope the ball skills to start making some plays with guys near him, not just wide open. And so hopefully that can start happening because he's going to get a chance. North Carolina is going to blitz, and North Carolina is not worried one iota about getting beat by your wide receivers. Why would they be? So I'm sure Levin shows up on the scouting report, but they don't think he's any good. Why would they? A catch in a spring game? So they're not going to respect those wide receivers at all. They're going to play a lot of press man, and they don't care if you're running deep, if you're running goes. They think they can run with you, and even if you get a little bit behind them, you're not going to make the catch. That's what those North Carolina DBs think about Florida State wide receivers. So it'd be cool if one of these guys went and proved them wrong.
Winning season rolling on at MyBookie, and this week entries open for the winner-take-all Super Contest. MyBookie, the only sports book online that offers you Super Contests, so don't miss out on their exclusive promotion. $10 entry can become $10,000. Weeks 5 through 8 of the NFL season, you make 5 picks against the spread. For each one you get right, you earn points. Rise up the standings, you can take home that $10,000 grand prize. You got to use the promo code WARCHANT when you make your first deposit at MyBookie so you can receive double your deposit. I don't even know. I'm scrolling here, Corey. I don't even know. I think 18.5 Alabama's favored by. Yeah, sure. Take all the points you want, Jimbo. I'll take Alabama in one of mine. Man, I got to go with an over usually. I'm going to take over.
No, man. Don't you think A&M can at least keep that close?
No.
They got some pride there.
No, they don't have
it's
an offense.
It's a tough place to play.
They don't have an offense. I'll go over 57 on Connecticut and UMass. Just high fire, just. Yeah. And I think Iowa, yes, they're 1.5 point favorite at home. I think they'll beat Penn State by at least 2. So there you go, everybody.
How about that? How about Iowa? When I always talk about Nebraska not being able to get back to where it was because it's just where it's located, I guess Iowa is the counter. There's no talent in Iowa.
Right.
All they do is grow corn and look at the stars. There's nothing to do in Iowa. There's no real talent. But they've turned into I don't know that they're the 4th best team in the country, but they're always pretty darn good on defense, and they've got some linemen that are just that center. I might vote their center for the Heisman. There's nobody that's jumping out to me right now in the Heisman race. I'll vote for an offensive lineman. I don't care. That guy is incredible. But so I don't think I guess my counter to that counter is, Nebraska could get to where Iowa is, but just, or Wisconsin. It could get back to top 10-ish. I know Wisconsin's not good this year, but you know what I mean. Top 10 Midwest type program. But is Iowa ever going to win a national title? Can Iowa beat Alabama and Georgia back to back? Doesn't seem feasible, does it?
No.
That's where I think Nebraska is. I don't think Nebraska will ever have the athletes to beat elite teams multiple times in a season to go win a championship. But I guess they could get back to an Iowa type school, which is pretty darn impressive. That guy, I know he's been there forever. He's got some checkered stuff going on, but golly, he's got Iowa in the top 5 in the country.
MyBookie.ag, use that promo code WARCHANT.
Growing up, my dad used to take me to the game at the stadium. We'd watch our favorite team play, and then we'd always eat at Zaxby's. That's why it means so much to me that Zaxby's is the official chicken of college fans. To me, they go together perfectly. It reminds me of my dad and...
Oh, come on, Ref! Are you serious? Get some glasses! Terrible call!
Now I take my kids to the game, and we always eat at Zaxby's too. It's tradition.
We're proud to be the official chicken of college fans. Zaxby's, indescribably good.
And don't forget to listen in for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week every Monday on Wake Up War Chant.
coach's name is Kirk Ferentz, Corey, and that center's name is Tyler Linderbaum, who's grading out at 90.5 on the season.
I tell you what, if it stays that way and Iowa ends up winning 10, 11 games, I'm telling you, there's a chance I vote for him for the Heisman. What, am I going to vote for Alabama's quarterback again? Oklahoma's quarterback? Like, give me a break. Go watch that guy's highlights, everyone. I'm sorry I did that in the middle of an ad read. I gotta learn the ways of podcasting. I'm still a rookie here. I broke into like a real discussion in the middle of an ad read. But that guy's incredible, man. I've never seen. There aren't centers that do that. There's one play in that last game. He snaps the ball in his 25-yard. He's in front of the running back going down the right sideline, mauling folks. It's just what a weapon. What a weapon it is. So anyway,
bonus pick. I would say, speaking of Nebraska, I think Nebraska will keep. They'll lose by 1 point. That's kind of their DNA right now. Playing Michigan, my guy Harbaugh, he's back. Good to see that.
Ooh, where's that one? Is that in Lincoln?
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know, man. So what's the spread in that one?
3.5, Michigan.
Yeah, that's a low number. I was hoping to be a bit higher than that. Yeah, man, Nebraska can definitely win that game. Well, it's only a 3-point spread. Yeah, that'd be a big win for old Scott Frost if he can. I mean, Michigan's due. They didn't play all that well in their last game, I don't think. I think they're due to drop one. This might be this. This is the one. I think they're going to lose this one.
My children fighting. I like both those guys, so I don't know. I just like the guy coming back home, trying to help his alma mater get back over the hump, get him back to.
There's both of them.
Yeah, so it's just really heartwarming kind of stuff, even for a guy like me.
Like Deion, when Deion comes back to Tallahassee.
Hey, from your lips to God's ear or whatever? Is that what it is? Which I don't even get how that works. So it's like what, you have a direct line to God, like you're speaking it to him directly.
Well, they're hoping that I think they're hoping that God's listening to exactly what you're saying.
Okay, I got you. We're listening to S Quinn 67 now. Wake up. We got the first win of the year. Let's shoot for 5 more. Or he says, let's shoot for 5, maybe just 5 total. Yeah. North Carolina, Miami are not playing for anything. Let's bring on the JT-13 Storm. Then let's kick some ass, both teams. No one really cares about football in Massachusetts. Okay, sure. I mean, 5.
Well, they don't care about college football for sure.
Right. I mean, can you get the 5? I mean, you beat North Carolina, that's 2. You beat Miami 3.
That was the funny thing
4,
that you
North Carolina State 5.
That Feldman story when he's talking about coaches on the hot seat, and he mentions Norvell, and it's like, short of going 3-9 though, he should be safe. Yeah. It's like what, Bruce? They lost to Jacksonville State, who, by the way, is on probation now for recruiting violations. That came out on Thursday.
Stop it, really?
Yeah, that came out on Thursday. For pandering, not pandering. That's what I do on this show. What do you call it when you talk to a person that's not a freak? Tampering. Good grief, pandering. I'm the panderer. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's like, how can you write it short of them going 3-9? Bruce, they're 1-4 in the toughest part. Have you seen who they're gonna play? Yeah. Like, they barely beat Syracuse. They lost to Jacksonville State. I think Florida State fans at this point would be, well, 3-9. All right. From a 1-4 start, that's not too bad,
like,
considering who they're about to play.
Yeah, like, lock me in. I'll take it. I'll just sign me up. Sure.
So for him to say short of 3-9, he's safe, but he ain't gonna be more than 3-9. Maybe 4-8 if they figure out something somehow. You think, but yeah. So that was a weird thing to write.
I mean, can the offense find some sort of identity though with Jordan? I mean, not even so much this offense getting.
I just don't trust him to be healthy, right?
Yeah, I guess that's sort of, it comes back to that.
So it always comes back. I'm telling you, if Jordan Travis, like I'll repeat it. It was funny on headlines when I was making my pitch to Jeff about Jordan Travis and what difference he has in the offense. He's like, yeah, okay, what's his record? I'm like, yeah, man, 4-3. Rest of the guys 0-7. It's like, oh, yeah, I know. Not only does he put up points, he wins games more than anybody else in this flipping roster. In that quarterback room, he has proven to be able to win games at Florida State. Although I don't know how fair that is to Chubba, because Chubba really only got one game that was his.
Yeah.
The other 2, he came in at halftime because Travis got hurt, fourth quarter against Louisville, then the second half against Pitt. He was awful in both those games. But then the NC State game was his only game, and he put up 25 points. He put up 22 in the second half. And I forgot, because I was doing that story. You remember in the NC State game they gave Rodemaker 2 series?
I don't recall
I didn't remember that
they?
at all. In the first half, in the second quarter, they gave Rodemaker 2 series, and I think one was an interception. And then Chubba played the whole second half and put up 22 points. So Chubba might be able to do the kind of stuff that Jordan does, but Jordan, they're 4-3. Every win they've had is because of Jordan Travis, and he's had 3 losses. 2 of them were to Notre Dame, and then one was to Louisville last year. Other than that, he's won the games he's been in, that he's played the majority of the snaps. He could be a guy that is a solid to good college quarterback. Doesn't do it traditionally, doesn't do it the way you want it, has a lot of bad plays as far as like you didn't see that there. That should have been 25 yards instead of 2nd and 10. But at the end of the day, when you look at the end of the results, he's putting up 30-something points on the board when he's healthy. But good grief. I just, again, this year, it's been the same thing as last year. So I think if he had a different body, number one, I think Florida State might be 3-2. But I think you would just feel so much better about having that kid as your sophomore quarterback who makes plays like this and who puts points on the board moving forward. Like, he might be the real thing. He's a guy that can go win you some games on the road because defenses can't account for some of the stuff he does, but he just can't stay healthy. So
I wonder
it'd be cool if he did, though. What if he did, Aslan,
Yeah,
for these next 7 games?
Maybe we should do a what-if video during the bye week. What if Jordan Travis has finally found it? I wonder how many top 25 teams would contact him, would tamper if he put his name in the transfer portal.
Tamper or pander.
Yeah. I just wonder how much he's valued outside. I mean, well, he's not valued all that much inside the Florida State bubble.
Right.
So. But anyhow, all right, as Quinn67 continues on, I've heard you guys complain about the ACC network. I agree broadcasts are not good. However, the commercials you guys bust on them about must be a Tallahassee, Atlanta thing. It has always bothered me that I wasn't realizing how bad they were, so this week I watched purposefully, and the commercials were for the following companies on my broadcast. You don't have to read them all on the air, Aslan. I will. Dr. Pepper, Peloton, Xbox, Aflac, Geico, Subway, Old El Paso, Dodge Ram, U.S. Army, and IKEA. Not tactical sunglasses and whatever else you guys get. Maybe, but were you watching the football game, or are you watching 3 p.m. Thursday programming, S. Quinn? I think during the games they show good stuff because people actually watch the games. So advertisers are like, all right, yeah, you can put me on at 3:30 on ACC Network. But 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, yeah, you're getting waffle makers and, hypersonic roach-killing devices or something. You're not getting IBM.
I'm turning to ACC Network right now on my TV because I get it here at my house in Atlanta. Crazily.
Show off.
And I'm going to see what I am showing off. I'm going to see what commercials they run the next time. Right now there's no commercials.
All right.
But I'm going to see when they run another commercial, I'm going to tell you what it is. Come on, mute.
Just interrupt me. As soon as the first commercial pops up, it's like, all right, commercial, this is what it is. Anyway.
I mean, all of a sudden my remote's not going to. There we go. Sorry, gang. Oh, it won't mute. There we go.
Anyways, love the show. Let's put Sam Howell on his keister this weekend. Treat him like he's Danny Werfel for 3 or 4 hours. Go Noles, class of 93. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Rough him up. I wonder how much revenge is on the mind of Sam.
Probably a lot, man. That was a pretty embarrassing loss for them. And Mac Brown, too. That's the worst loss he's had since he's been there. Look at that team he lost to. I mean, that's crazy he lost that game. With the talent he had compared to the team he was playing, it's crazy he lost that game.
Yeah. Warpath Knoll, wake up, fellas. Last week started a big win streak for us. Hopefully it continues this week. As Corey always says, upsets do happen.
Mm-hmm.
So at the black hole of the last 4 or 5 years of FSU football, would you guys trade the 2013 championship for having been elite, which I will define as winning 10 or more games and a New Year's Six bowl appearance, in the years since, and still to this day with the hope of another championship soon? I've read all that. Did it make sense to you?
Yeah, it's
no.
It's like
I'll take a championship. Come on, it's all about winning championships, man.
No, see, you say that, but I always push back on that because of a Braves fan versus a Marlins fan. Since 1997, or so let's say since 95, the Braves have won 1 World Series, the Marlins have won 2. But the Marlins have been dog sorry for the other 20 years of that existence, to the point they have 900 people going to their games. Meanwhile, the Braves haven't won the championship, but they're always good, and they're always playing games that matter. And as a fan, that's really what you want. Like, you don't, like, you'd rather, like, no. I looking back on it, the 13th season was awesome. It was great to cover an all-time great team. But if you're telling me I could have had the last 7 years would have all been 2012s, like 12-2, but you're in the top 10, you're playing games that matter, you're going to bowl games, I think I would trade that for that one championship. Because this is hard, man. You see it. It's hard. And I like how he put it on at the end. It's not like you're guaranteed in perpetuity to stay at 12-2. You still have chance, like the Braves this year. They're not going to do it, but the Braves this year are in the playoffs. They have a chance to go win a World Series. And so if you're hovering in that 11 to 12 win range, well, you're right there. You're a player away or a break away from maybe competing for a championship and winning a championship. So yeah, I would rather be in that realm. Like Georgia fans. Let me ask you this, and I say this because I'm a Georgia alum. I'm a fan, but not like a diehard crazy fan. Who do you think's had a better last 8 years of fandom? Florida State or Georgia fans?
I take Florida State, man. It's been bad 4 years.
You would take these last 3 or 4 years.
We won a national championship, man. I think a lot of this too.
This is so opposite of that. Like this is harder to deal with than the championship was to sell it, in my opinion.
But this all makes sense
from my
to me.
Perspective.
This all makes sense to me. Like, you had a good coach. It all got screwed up. You made bad hire, maybe 2 bad hires, and now you're here. Like, this to me isn't inexplicable. This isn't like, and this is the cycle of college football. Like, I never thought Florida State was, just because what Bobby Bowden did, I'm like, this isn't what Florida State's always going to be. We were lucky. Like, we were lucky we had that guy at that moment in time that was that good of a human being that stuck around in that era. Like, everything lined up for Florida State. Like, enjoy it. Take it while you can. It's never going to be like that. So, like, when you have those moments, you make the best of them. Like, that's why, Jimbo's like, well, hey, man, Jimbo Fisher won a national title here. Like, we can probably find somebody else that'll keep this thing rolling. Maybe, but probably not. So, like, it makes sense to me where we're at. Like, this doesn't feel like some sort of, this is unfair, the world is conspiring against me to put me in this. And it all adds up and makes sense. And for me, maybe, I don't know if it's not my age, but like, I was more of a fan of the sport of college football growing up as a kid. Like, Florida State was one of my favorite teams, but I loved the sport. Like, I loved watching the top 25 roll out on CNN on Sunday morning with my brother. And like, that was like, I love watching game day. Like, that was all part of everything. So I didn't really get to enjoy maybe the 93 championship or the 99 championship as much as you did. So for me, like, when I finally really got into being a huge over-the-top Florida State fan was when I came here to go to college, which is 2001 is when I got here, 2001, 2002. So I never had it, man. I never had that awesome moment. And then in 2013 gave that to me, and I'm like, oh, man, like, I wouldn't trade it for anything. So that's why I literally wouldn't trade it for anything, because I needed that all-in, living and dying every single week, keeping tabs on everything. I needed that sort of emotional investment and then see it pay off. And if you took that away from me.
But I guess my point would be to that, but I agree with it. I'm not saying that there's a right answer or wrong answer. My preference would be to be what Georgia's been the last 5 years. Good, elite-ish, but not good enough. But their stadium's sold out. They don't have 30,000 empty seats. So clearly the fans care, even if they don't bring a championship, they're coming to those games because they're invested in those seasons. And that's what I would say is, like, you were invested in 12, even though they didn't win it. Yeah. Like, you got to feel that in 14, even though they didn't win it. You got to feel what it was like to be in the race, in the hunt, even in those non-championship years. And that would be my point, is like, you don't know ahead of time that you're not going to win the championship. You go in every season thinking, oh, they got a chance, and they finish 11-2. You still enjoy those seasons for what they are, and you're in the hunt, which is so much better than this. This low is lower than that high is high to me. But you're right. Fair. I also lived through 2 other ones. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, lived through them. I was 18 and I was in my 20s for those 2. So that was right in my wheelhouse of really caring about college football. But this low, I didn't think it would last forever, this run. But I didn't know it could get this low. And this is hard. So, but you know what? Norvell's going to get them right. 4 years we'll be having this discussion about, we talked about it on the headlines too, like, Wouldn't it be cool if Norvell got to a point where we were getting upset with 10-3 seasons? Like, come on now.
Yeah, remember that?
Another 10-3 year?
Yeah,
come on now. We need to start picking this up. So that, like Mullen, because they were talking about Dan Mullen and how Florida fans might get. He's like 31-11. I'm like, man, that's pretty good. It's like, yeah, but it's not great at Florida. I'm like, I know, but he's not getting fired if he keeps going 10-3. And Jeff's like, well, let him go 10-3 4 straight years. I'm like, well, that's probably, if they don't take the next step, maybe. But, man, it would be good to be in that position.
Yeah, but if they keep messing around and they beat Georgia once every other year and they keep beating Florida State, they're not going to get rid of him, man.
No, they won't. I don't think he's going to get fired. I think he might leave for somewhere else.
I don't know. He really does. That really kind of was his dream job. He'd leave
so
for the
awkward,
NFL,
though, man.
I don't think
that's
he'd go
the issue
else.
That's the issue with guys like that, man. Like once it goes bad, if you're just a weird, jerkish type person to the people that work with you in the administration and the fans, there's not a lot of people that are going to have your back. Like, that's I don't think Norvell does that for this. I don't think Norvell's good with us, good with the media, and good with fans for that reason. But if he was, that's smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just being a jerk and then not winning and then losing at Kentucky for the first time in 35 years, that's you're not going to have a lot of people defending you.
I think he is, man, because he worked with Todd Graham, and Todd Graham really wasn't all that beloved at the places he worked at. So I think he kind of saw that firsthand. It was like,
oh yeah, that's a good point. You're talking about Norvell.
Yes, yeah, he's a guy.
Yeah, because Graham was not a lovable man.
Yeah. We're 45 minutes deep. We have 7 more to get to.
All right, let's go. Let's fire through it.
NYC Nole. This is the Paul Gleason NYC Nole.
Yeah.
Wake up, gents. It's your guy, NYC Nole. I know I haven't been around. This working from home and not commuting has put a hit on my podcast listening, but it took some time, and I have a new routine. Listen to you guys now as I take my dog, Winston, for a walk. So I'm pretty much caught up. Not really a question this week, but a couple observations. 1, so it seems no one knows what the hell has happened to the helmet tomahawks. Aslan, you're our only hope in getting to the bottom of this. Hopefully you now know, NYC. I asked them on Wednesday. But yeah, you got to win. After the wins, they'll get the sticker, so they'll be on the helmets Saturday. Speaking of helmets, 2, who do I have to thank for getting back to having Noles across the top of the helmet? Is it the new ACC commish? I hated the ACC on our helmets. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who did that, but I do like it. Yeah, it was weird to have ACC on the bridge, like above the bridge of your nose on the helmet. Noles is.
Oh, really? I never noticed that. Is that what it was?
Yeah, like the Jameis years, pretty sure it was. Lastly, kudos to you, Corey, for not only dumping the champagne on your head, but doing it like men used to do it. Sans goggles. As always, keep up the great work. Aslan, you're my man, too. So,
if I'd have put on goggles, I would have given it.
Did it get in your eyes? It had to have gotten in your eyes.
It did, but it didn't burn too bad. Okay. I don't know if that means the quality of champagne isn't great.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know what the burn ratio is. The burn scale is for good champagne. But yeah, if I put on goggles, I would have given it away, and I wanted it to be a surprise. Plus, Aslan was really genuinely mad at me for popping it before the camera was rolling. So I wanted to make him laugh and do something special. I didn't want to just sit there and swig champagne. So once I blew the popping of it, I felt like the next thing was to douse myself with it. And if I would have doused Ira, there probably would have been a fight. So I had to douse myself.
I detoured to go buy the bottle of champagne. Now it was like a $7 bottle of champagne. So everybody, it didn't have a cork. It didn't have a cork and wire over it like most wine does. It had a screw off kind of top, but you could kind of feel it pressurized. So I told Corey, I'm like, hey man, don't open. He's like, oh no, I know. I'm like, yeah, don't open it until we actually start recording. But he is the father of Brady Clark. He hangs around Brady too much, so he went all Brady and just like nonchalant.
I wasn't trying to open. I was trying to get it to where it would be easy to open once the.
It was a twist off, Corey. What are you?
Well, I didn't know. I've never opened champagne. I didn't know if I was going to be sitting there twisting for 20 seconds, or if it was going to be 3. I didn't know it was just going to be one twist,
right?
And then another little twist, and all of a sudden it pops.
Yeah.
But now I know. So when they beat Clemson, I'll have more. Man, can you imagine what I'm gonna do at Death Valley if they beat Clemson? I'm gonna go find Dabo. Go
sit at Dabo's podium for the hour before he shows up and just do it from there.
I'll just dump my champagne at where he's supposed to be. I'm gonna slide down the hill a couple times. I'll push Ira down the hill. We're doing it, man. We are going to do it.
Sabaxley 1212, Corey, Aslan, wake up. A win makes things sweeter, and when the good guys win and both Florida and the U lose, it makes it so much sweeter.
Well, let me interrupt you real quick, Aslan. Right now I'm watching a commercial for the Hurricane. Okay. It's for older people.
Okay.
It's a cane. It's called the Hurricane because I guess it has a little more – it looks like it has a little more traction. It's worry-free too, 100% money-back guarantee. So that was the first one I saw was the Hurricane. Okay. It's like a walking cane, walking stick for people with not great legs.
Okay. I thought of Corey, Sabaxley 1212 says, during the first quarter when Syracuse lined up to go for it on fourth down, but when the defense did not jump offside, Syracuse called a timeout and, of course, gave a TV timeout. When play resumed, our defense stopped them and got a turnover on downs, only to have all that momentum gained killed by the ACC network when they immediately went to another television timeout. Carrying on, I walked out of the stadium thinking that this might not be Norvell's biggest win as head coach at Florida State, but it's definitely in his top 4.
Correct.
Nice. Well done.
Let's rank them.
So that leads me to this question. What do you two think outside of national championship games, what would be good choices for FSU's top 4 wins of all time? Love the show. You guys are the best hosts of any podcast anywhere at any time. Keep
Amen,
grinding,
brother.
Go Noles. All right. Putting that one on the ad sell sheet. We're the best hosts.
Ooh,
top 4. What did somebody ask us the other day? Like, what's our favorite win that's not a national title? Like I said, 91 Michigan. Forgot what you said. Maybe like
I don't remember what I said.
Auburn,
I mean,
Auburn game, Auburn 88, Auburn 87.
the 87 Auburn game. I remember specifically there was a story in the AJC, and that's how you had to read. This was 1987. So that's how you got all your Florida State news, unless you had the Osceola. And I already read the Osceola. But anyway, the story about the big Florida State-Auburn game, 2 top 10 teams, was, can Bowden finally win the big one? That was his reputation in 1987. He had pretty good teams, top 15-ish teams, but they would always lose or mostly lose to the really good teams they played. And then they went and beat them 34-6, just hammered them in Auburn. I couldn't go because I got in trouble. Miss Best in 7th grade got me in trouble for, I can't remember what I did. It was something not great, like lied about signing. I don't remember. But anyway, I was supposed to go to the game, and then I couldn't go to the game because I got in trouble. My dad wasn't real happy with me, so he didn't take me. And so I had to watch on TV. Pretty upset. But it was cool. It was a great win. But I think that was the win where that 87 team was like, okay, this isn't fluky. And the fans, too, like, this is a really good team. And it's a young team. They're going to even be better next year. So that's a really big one in the history of the dynasty was that one. Other than that, it's really hard, man. I don't know. The 2013 Clemson was a huge game.
You got to pull a game from 80, right? Like you usually pull up the Pitt game. Maybe Nebraska, 1980. I mean, go to Lincoln, beat Nebraska.
So you could lump those into one, really. But they both were number 3 in the country.
Come on, don't cheat.
Well, right, but I'll lump those just to speed it up. We're already at, 50 minutes?
Yeah.
So 1979, Florida State goes undefeated in the regular season, but they don't play in a conference, so they played a bunch of not good teams. And so people looked at them like right now you would look at like SMU if it went undefeated. Like, oh, all right, I guess. Are you gonna, like Cincinnati? Like, I guess they'll make the playoff, or I guess they deserve a big bowl. So they went undefeated, but then played Oklahoma in 79 and lost 24-7, and it wasn't all that close. They gave up 24 straight points to end it. They kind of were dominated. So people were like, okay, big boy football put little Florida State back in its place. Then the next year, early in the season, they go to Nebraska, who's number 2, 3 in the country, and beat them, mainly on they had a great defense and then great kicking. And then the very next week, if you thought that was a fluke, they have to go back home and play the new number 3 team in the country, Pitt, which Bobby Bowden always said had 4 future NFL Hall of Famers on that team, and they beat that team by 14 points. So those two coupled together was like, oh man, Bobby Bowden can really coach, and Florida State's not a joke. Like, Florida State is for real. And now they didn't have a season like that again for 7 years, but they were always good. And that kind of set the foundation for, okay, this is why Mickey Andrews will come coach here. This is why Dion will play here. And that kind of set the foundation for the dynasty was that those 2 games following the 79 season told the rest of the country and the kids in the state of Florida, which is what mattered most, that, yeah, Florida State's for real.
All right, was that fourth, or what are the other ones? So the Auburn.
Yeah, I went. Those are my 4 for
Michigan.
non-championship ones. There's other ones in there, sure, but I'll go with that one. 98 Florida was a sweet one too.
Yes.
Just because they had beaten you 3 years in a row, cost you really 2 national championships in a row, and then that defense just destroyed them, and Peter Warwick made them look silly. So that was fun too.
Nole 1982, wake up. A win is a win, fellas. A lot of talk about special teams this week, rightfully so. I would like to know why we don't have Jashawn Corbin taking kickoffs. As a freshman at A&M, he took a kickoff 100 yards to the house. Maybe one of y'all could ask Papuchis if they have thought about using him. I would hate for that to take away from his heavy workload of 9 to 12 carries a game, though, so maybe that's why.
Is that what he said or you said?
That's what he said. I'm reading his words.
That's
Thanks
funny.
for all you do. Love the content. Go Noles. That's fair. That's totally fair.
That's what I was going to say. Well, he was back there at least the last. He might have been back there for every kick, but he was back there the last 2 kicks when Ja'Kai was. But Ja'Kai was in the more return man position, like the left side of the formation. Corbin was more like the up back kind of guy. Yeah, there's no way that it's going to be Ja'Kai Douglas tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see who they put back there. That's funny. I was going to say, well, maybe they worry about having such an important person back there on kick return when he's got this huge load. It's like, well, no, he doesn't. He gets the ball 12 times a game. So what's an extra 2 or 3 with a running start? So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Corbin.
Yeah, I like that. I don't have a good explanation for why it isn't him, but I have footage of him returning kicks, like in those first 10 practices of the preseason camp we were able to film. I mean,
he's one of their guys.
Yeah.
They work him back there. Yeah. It's just I don't know why you would choose Douglas over him. If it has to be, they just don't want him to take extra hits, I guess. But you know when you don't take a hit is when you run 100 yards for a touchdown.
Bam.
Nobody's touching you then. He didn't take a hit on that 100-yard kick return for A&M.
All right, let's go to Nick Redivius. Redivivus. It's a term from the 1st century that refers to a myth about Nero, that he'd rise from the dead and return with the Parthian military to take back his throne. FSU needs a Redivivus. Sorry, Nick. I hope I did it right. Anywho, wake up, he says. Guys, we won for a change. How about them oranges? Orange men? I'll stick to my day job, he says. Here's a comment I would like you to consider. Corey has made a great argument. He says good. I wouldn't have said great. Good argument for Jordan Travis, citing statistics and all that jazz. But I have a deeper concern. Like all that real information back. I mean, come on.
Well, what's his concern? Let's hear him out.
Deeper concern, if we keep playing Travis, the skills of the wideouts will continue to atrophize. Parchment just started to get it going with McKenzie in the game against Louisville and then barely got involved against Syracuse. With Jordan Travis, it's just running backs. Jordan Travis and the occasional tight end. Wouldn't it be better to keep McKenzie out there to get the rest of the offensive skill guys better so that when Chuba or the next flashy recruit gets in there, the team is ready to be successful?
That's not a bad thought. Really, it isn't. I agree with that. Like, the receivers had no impact at all on Saturday. But you're also trying to move the ball and score, and it's just not working with Milton. Like, he can hit Parchment for a 21-yard pass, but it's still not turning into points all that much. With Travis, for whatever reason, again, I'm not saying he's John Elway. They've turned into more points than with anybody else at quarterback. But I agree. Like when we were talking about McLean and Parchment and these guys making plays and having opportunities, they haven't gotten a ton of opportunities with Jordan Travis. Like, I don't know. I don't get to see the all 22. I don't know if they're open and the guy's just not getting them the ball, or when they are open, he throws it over their head. Like, I agree with that to an. So if you're trying to project and trying to get these guys ready for next year, I don't disagree that you got to find a way to get them involved, especially McLean. But your main task is to win games, and right now the receivers aren't helping you win games like 13 is. And look, they're not winning a lot with him, but he gives you the best chance to win, in my opinion, right now, than Mackenzie Milton does. But that is something to think about moving forward. The receivers don't really get a chance to make any real plays with Jordan Travis back there. There's no way he makes that throw to Parchment for the touchdown against Louisville that Milton did. He just doesn't see it like that. That's a crazy, just catch the ball, rip it, and throw it to a spot. Perfect throw. Travis doesn't really have that in him. So there's a fine line there. There's a balance because you do want your receivers to develop. You also want them to come back, and you want other receivers to come play for you. And if you can get negatively recruited and say, why would you go there, man? Look at those receiver numbers. It's a fair worry. It's a fair concern. I just think right now in the present, for at least the next 2 games, you worry about trying to win them with Jordan Travis and then see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't. It's a good question. It's a good concern. I get it.
Well, you answered in the first 30 seconds like most things, Corey. Just this game is about scoring points and winning games. He's shown the ability to do that better than everybody else. So.
Right, but can these receivers ever really grow and make plays if they only get a couple chances a game? Like Parchment's best game was with Milton at quarterback.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson's going to the NFL Hall of Fame. He figured out a way with running the
he had
option.
Reggie Ball. He had the great Reggie Ball throwing to him. What's the matter with you? Marcus Ball's brother.
You're right. I apologize. Or no, was it him or was it Demarius Thomas? There was one of those Georgia Tech guys that just, was in the teeth.
That was Demarius Thomas.
Okay,
yeah, that
Thomas.
was the guy that played with the option.
Yeah, he did well. Look at him.
Right.
Just be awesome at your job, and you don't need all this other stuff. Also, on his way out, he asked, what's worse, losing to Jacksonville State or having your first-year head coach go visit his grandkids for an evening?
Losing to Jacksonville State.
I just can't believe all the clutching of pearls over this. You said in a text message, we got to keep this thing moving, but, he wasn't caught walking out of a hotel room with, like, his pants unzipped with another woman. I'm not defending Urban Meyer, but like
it's an awful look. Obviously, I didn't realize it was his bar.
Yeah,
like he has a restaurant in Columbus. I didn't know that. Yeah. It's like Urban's Bar and Grill or something.
It looks really nice too. It's like huge. It's like
hey man, it looks like it's hopping too.
Yeah.
In all ages.
Jimbo should buy his own restaurant in College Town. Just
yeah, people could burn it down. It would just be littered with Christmas trees. That would be the motif. The Urban Meyer thing is I think the big thing is that it's the hypocrisy of him, which we've known forever, and just the lying, like just so I saw it on Twitter, so I'm not going to act like it's my own original thought, but it's what he does. Like he treats the media and his players as if it's like when a kid lies to you because when they're 9 and they don't know any better, they don't know how dumb they are, and they don't respect you. Like him saying that. Oh, they're just trying to get me out on the dance floor. I posed for some pictures. It's like, man, just don't lie. It just makes it worse. You look like a fool. And so the second video comes out, and nobody's trying to get you on the dance floor. You're goosing this young woman in the backside, and don't tell us that you were there just with your grandkids. You didn't know the girl. Apparently you did. There were text exchanges, like all this stuff that's come out later.
Oh, jeez, I checked out. I checked out after.
Well, I haven't been like reading up on it or anything. Again, it's just something I saw on Twitter. But it's like, man, it's that thing. It's not the act itself, which is just kind of gross and creepy for a 57-year-old. But it's a married man too. But just the age, all that. It's just the lying and the hypocrisy about that man. There's nothing about him that says anything other than sleazy and greasy and gross, and this is just more fuel for it.
You guys are great at what you do. Corey, your champagne celebration, the highlight of my week. Keep on keeping on, brothers.
Good.
Nick
Nice.
Redivivius. I can't, Rick. That's not going to work, Nick. Just can't figure it out. Jimbo Jangles, wake up, you two jagaloons. Is it too early for basketball questions or what? Again, Leonard Hamilton appears to have a pretty talented squad. Lots of inexperience, but it should be fun watching these guys figure it out and gel. Will you guys be able to regularly watch practice and give insight as you do with football? With so many new guys, it will be good to have some early feedback. Thanks for all you do. Go Noles.
He's opened it up. The last year, not so much because of COVID, but the years before, I went out there and watched a couple scrimmages, and I'm going to ask to do that again. I have asked and wasn't told one way or the other yet. I would imagine will be they're not. I don't think they're opening up every day of practice like Norvell does, or 70%, 60% of practices like Norvell does. But I do think we'll be able to watch some. And then, that's always fun, man. Like to see the scrimmages, I remember writing about Devin Vassell being like, holy moly, like his going into his sophomore year. Like we all knew there was some talent there. Like he had shown some glimpses as a freshman, some big moments, the Virginia Tech game. But then watching him in that scrimmage, I'm like, man, this kid, he's the best player on the team. It might be one of the best in the country just from one. I mean, he dominated. And that was, so you see those kind of things. And so I go on the board and I say, look, Devin Vassell might be ready to take a huge jump. And then he does. And you look like a Nostradamus. You look like you know what you're talking about. Like anybody could have seen it.
The coracle.
The coracle. Yeah, anybody could have seen it. As Jimbo always said, Stevie Wonder could see that. But it's still cool to be able to get those glimpses. So I do want to see Matthew Cleveland. I mean, I want to see all of them. But Matthew Cleveland, Caleb Mills, and Cameron Fletcher, the two transfers, Mills and Fletcher, I want to see what they look like. Because Leonard says that Fletcher is probably one of the most physically talented players they've ever had. And Caleb Mills, this isn't Leonard's words, but that, he's one of the best just pure scorers, probably the best pure scorer Florida State has had since Bacon and like before that, Tony Douglas. Like the guy just knows how to score, knows how to put the ball in the bucket. So I want to see what they look like up close and personal. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Corey. Good job. Old Dad's a Nole. I was going back to do some research on this next question. From Old Dad's a Nole. Wake up. Been wanting to ask this for a while, so since it's North Carolina week, what better time? Actually, it will be two questions, but same subject, if I may. First question is, who would Sam Howell be had he come to FSU? Second is, where would FSU be had he came here to begin with? Very curious for both your answers. Loving this Douglas Zaxby's, by the way. I use their app, of course, so there's no waiting in the long drive-thru. Old Dad. Awesome. Nice. Look at Old Dad's up with the technology, using an app for his Zaxby's. Good on you.
Yeah, man.
All right, who would Sam Howell be had he come to FSU? He would have had Kendall Briles as his offensive coordinator had he been here.
Yep.
That would have worked out pretty well. I think last year would have worked out 4-5. Maybe they win one extra. I mean, they don't lose to Georgia Tech if he's the starting quarterback. They beat Jacksonville State. I bet you they
probably beat North Carolina again.
Yeah, and then I think
he's not there.
And then the Louisville, North Carolina State Pitt trio. You win at least one of those. You probably don't go 0 for there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's probably about right. I think in this year they would be, I don't know. I mean, if you put 38 on the board without an NFL quarterback, you probably beat Notre Dame, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd go ahead and say it. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. It's always hard with those kind of questions because, last year he had ridiculous amounts of talent. He had an incredible running game, and he had some really good wide receivers that he would not have here, especially the wide receiver part. So how much – and this has always been an argument of mine. I'm not saying that really good quarterbacks make their receivers better. They turned 2012 Kenny Shaw into 2013 Kenny Shaw. That's the impact a great quarterback can make. So Pokey Wilson might go from – a 350-yard guy to a 750-yard guy with a great quarterback. It's hard to say, they would just be terrible because they didn't have anybody to throw to. Good quarterbacks make guys better. And so it's hard to quantify that. They would be – I don't think his stock would be so high as an NFL prospect because of the wins and the lack of wins necessarily, and he wouldn't be putting up the yardage he's put up. But I think they would certainly be a better offense. And I think, these receivers, we would know more about who they are. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
So I don't know. They would be better. Is Willie still here?
Oh, yeah.
If Sam Howell's the quarterback.
Yeah, except in 19, yeah, probably.
Because he would, but Sam Howell would have been a true freshman in 2019, right?
Right, correct.
So I wonder how easily he gets that offense. Where is he starting the first game?
I mean, it's Kendall's offense, man. Everybody seems to pick that thing up pretty quickly, pretty easily. I mean, look at the guys at Arkansas.
Yeah. So he his talent probably wins you. I mean, look, man, you almost beat Boise State and Wake Forest
and Virginia,
and I'm sure and Virginia with James Blackman as your quarterback. So you have to imagine the disparity between James Blackman and Sam Howell is enough to at least turn around 2 of those wins, maybe all 3. And if he's doing that, then yeah, Willie's still here. That's how big a recruit that was.
He probably could beat Miami. I mean, 2019, he's
Well,
probably
they would have put more than 10 points up.
Yeah.
It's certainly a better option than Hornibrook.
Yeah.
You know, so who I'm still not convinced was actually left-handed. I think he's just screwing with all of us.
But I wonder where FSU would be though, because you're still probably you're coming off 5 wins in a COVID year. 2019, you go 8-5. And you're still talking. I don't know where. And this year we're 3-2 right now. Then you're having conversations about can Taggart really ever make that next big jump? Or is this just what he is? And hey, he's got this guy that's a projected first-round draft pick at quarterback right now. What happens when he leaves? Then where are we at? You're in a better place than you are now, but nowhere near as awesome as maybe someone would like to think.
The problems that Taggart had away from the actual Saturdays. The practices, the recruiting organization, all of that stuff would still be a problem, but they'd be winning more games. So in the long term, would it be better for Taggart to have been here 5 or 6 years, or to cut bait when you did?
Right.
If Sam Howell was at Florida State, there's no way you cut bait. But it's also I don't think it's ever great for a program, no matter if you think you've upgraded tenfold at head coach, to go through a stretch like this. And they would not be going through a stretch like this with Sam Howell at quarterback. Yeah. They wouldn't be great, but they would have, what'd we say, probably 4 more wins. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy either, right?
No.
I mean, quarterback is an enormously important position, and you've been really – last year you were terrible at it. In the year before, in 18, you weren't good at it at all. Not that he would have impacted 18. But, I just think that – the difference between what you've been running out at quarterback and Sam Howell is big enough that it's probably 4 extra wins at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're not in the Sun Bowl if he's your quarterback in 19. But, I mean, if we play everything out the way it was, that schedule, he beats Arizona State. You win that game. Again, you win the Boise State game. Probably win. You split from Virginia and Wake Forest. I mean, you're looking like 8 wins. Maybe 9. Yeah. You beat Miami, so you have a win over a rival, and you have a 9-win season, and you got some things that you feel good about.
Yeah, you got some things working.
But you know what? He didn't. Walt Bell went to UMass. Walt Bell said, you know what? Probably don't want to go play for that coach. So he went to play for Phil Longo at North Carolina, and Phil Longo's offenses are actually pretty prolific. So I don't blame him. I just don't.
And he was from North Carolina. It all kind of made sense.
Yeah. All right, last one. We end with who we usually start off with when we do the live show. It's Gator Kirk. Wake up. I will miss watching the game live this weekend due to my sister getting married at 4 p.m.
Ooh.
And it won't be in the 757, he says. Not sure what she was thinking. I'm so despondent, I don't have a question. Let the bamboo climb versus North Carolina. Go Noles. Come on, you got a mobile device, Gator Kirk. You get the ESPN app. You can watch it on your phone.
Yeah, that's not rude. Not anymore, not in 20. If somebody's going to have a wedding on a Saturday in the fall, you better be okay with people looking at their phones, because that you've done it yourself.
Yeah,
there's 8 other months you could get married. You could pick a bye week.
That's what my buddy did. My buddy Joe the lawyer, when he got married in 14, it was the bye week. And I always remember, that's when Ole Miss was still doing pretty okay, and they were playing Auburn, and literally the moment, you probably won't remember this, but the moment I opened it up on my app, it was, I think, Laquan Treadwell or somebody on Ole Miss was ready to score the game-winning touchdown, and he got tackled at the 1-yard line and broke his leg and fumbled. At that exact moment it happened, then my whole Twitter exploded because I was still following all these people in Mississippi because I was working in Mississippi at the time. Everyone was just oh my God, I can't believe it. This is the most Ole Miss thing ever, and so yeah, had really good timing on the pulling up the app. So use it, Gator Kirk. If not, just
be cool about
check
it. Be coy.
Warchant.com. We'll have all
Don't
the
start
updates.
going crazy and cheering when when Jordan Travis hits Malik McClain for a 75-yarder. Be cool.
Be bamboo.
Don't bring attention to yourself.
Be bamboo. Let the roots hold during the ceremony and at the reception. Then you can let it grow.
Just sprout away after that. Just sprout all over everything.
There you go. All right, that's a wrap for us, but not a wrap for Corey. Jeff Cameron Show coming up 1 to 3 o'clock here on YouTube, as well as 93.3 FM in Tallahassee, and then the Happy Hour Show live in the flesh. Jeff Cameron and Corey Clark at Corner Pocket and Grill off Apple.
No, not doing that this week, buddy. It's just
it's an away game. It's an away game.
Daddy's going to be in Chapel Hill. You know that.
You're right. I meant well. Have a safe trip, Corey.
Hey, thanks, Aslan. Love you.
He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant. Field, you know who it is. DeLuna. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.